Yo, what's up, son? This is your host, Mr. Yuck, and thanks for tuning in to my YouTube channel, Mr. Yuck Forever. All one word. This build for the monk is by far one of my favorite builds. Now that you still do massive damage, and you're able to soak up an extreme amount of hit points because the enemy does absolutely no damage to you. Master 5 with only 350,000 damage, a little bit over 8,000 armor, and 125,000 health. Let's go. So let's take a look at what makes this build so effective. Well, there's a couple things. The build is built on mad armor, okay, high dodge chance, and overall good resistance with high vitality. Right here you can see my overall damage reduction is about at a 73% from my 8100 armor. My overall resistance of reduced damage is anywhere between 62% to 68%. My dodge chance is at a 65%, and the fact that I'm using denial of the shield, I also have an 18% block chance on top of that. And so your dudes are either trying to hit you and you're dodging them. They're either trying to hit you and you're just absorbing the damage from your armor. You're blocking their attacks, or they're just not doing very much damage because you're such a fucking... So right here you can still see that I'm on Master 5, and if I jump into my inventory, I'm still at my 353,000 damage per second. Same build, same stats that I have. So take on a big old group right here. Let's see how we do. Keep in mind that right now I decided to disband my follower, so I'm just playing by myself. And you can see that so far, these dudes have done absolutely no damage. And they can do pretty much absolutely no damage on Master 5. Alright, well let's take a look at the skill build we got going on here for this legendary monk build. Let's start off with our primary. I like Fist of Thunder, and quickening is the shit. Critical hits generate 15 spirit for each target hit. So on this build with my armor, which I will show you here in a second, I got a little bit over a 50% critical hit chance. So pretty much anytime I'm using my primary, I'm generating spirit insanely fast. Fist of Thunder is the best, I think, for the primary, so definitely go with that. For your secondary, this is going to be our main attacking move. The Wave of Light, or the Bell. For your modifier, go for Empowered Wave. Reduces the cost of Wave of Light to a 40. When it's only at 40, you can just use this thing over and over and over. It's an amazing move. And if you haven't used this move before, you're an idiot, because it does massive damage. So, on Fist of Thunder, sometimes people like to use the first modifier where it teleports the dudes to you. Instead, we're going to be using Cyclone Strike to pull the dudes towards us. We're going to be using Eye of the Storm. It also reduces the cost to 30. So now we're going to be using 30 for our first move that pulls the enemies towards us. And then 40 spirit for the second move, which once the dudes are all pulled towards us, the bell's going to crash on all these guys and they just do massive damage. As you can see, I've just been looping these moves over and over. When the dudes get close and I'm low on spirit, Fist of Thunder into Cyclone Strike and Wave of Light. For one of our defensive moves, we're going to be using Inner Sanctuary and Circle of Protection. Circle of Protection is really badass. While you're standing in the circle of protection, damage reduced by 35%, and dudes can't really pass into it, so they have a hard time attacking you. I actually am using an ally on this build, and I'm using the Earth ally, One of the reasons is because it increases your maximum life by 10%. And it's not really that important that he does 60% of my weapon damage is physical. But when he attacks a dude, it does force the enemy to attack the ally, which is really nice. If he dies, it only costs 25 spirit, and it's absolutely nothing. For my mantra, I switch back and forth between a couple different ones. The mantra of healing I really like, and on this build I'm actually going with the time of need. It increases my overall resistance by everything by 20%. And life generation of 1,311. Good one if you don't really like that, but I use it because while I'm fighting, I just want to regen health. You can actually go for a mantra of evasion and go for hard target. Increases your armor resistance by 20%. And if I put that on, my armor actually is at a. Let me take a look here. My armor is pretty much at 10,000 at that point. But I do like I said, going back here, back to a mantra of healing, and probably just go with time of need. It's just too good. All right, and so for on to our passive skills. First one we're going to be doing is resolve. Okay, damage you do reduces the enemy damage by 20%. Okay, so when we first pull the dudes in with Cyclone Strike, we've already hit them. So any dudes close to us, damage reduced by 20%. Okay, for our second one, Transcendence. Every point of spirit spent heals you 131 life. So you do have a Mad Spirit regen. You know, it's pretty decent in this class. So every time you're using a Wave of Light and Cyclone Strike, you are just regenning a decent amount of health. So it's also a part vampiric class. Very, very hard to kill you. And then Seize the Initiative. Your armor is increased by 50% of your dexterity. And since we have been stacking mad dexterity in our class, that's one reason why we have mad armor. And I just love how the dudes can do no damage. It doesn't matter how long it takes to kill guys if they cannot kill you. If dudes can't kill you, then you can sit here all day and fight whoever you wanted. Any bosses, any character in the entire game. Alright, so now on to our armor and weapons. Let's start off with my shield. I'm using Denial. I'm sure there's quite a few better ones out there. But the things that I like on it comes with 1,600 armor on it, which is insane. 12% life. Melee attackers take damage. Reduces the duration of control effects. And I receive less damage from melee attackers as well. It also has that 18% block chance at around 4,000 damage. Alright, next, I'm rolling with my Steady Strikers, the same one on my Demon Hunter. Has a good attack speed, dex, life per hit, armor, and critical hit chance. Moonlight Ward, I'm taking this over Ouroboros for sure, because I'm surrounded by the arcane balls, and they wear off pretty quick when they're hitting dudes when I'm pulling them in. Has mad critical hit damage, chance, life, attack speed, intelligence for more resistance, and mad 500 dexterity. For the helmet, still rocking with the Mempo of Twilight. Got that Marquise Amethyst in there. Resist all elements, attack speed, life, critical hit chance, and dex. The Mempo of Twilight is definitely the best helmet for the Monk and probably the Demon Hunter as well. I'll go with Blackthorn's Surcoat and actually Blackthorn's Jousting Mail. Gives me that extra 100 Vitality for my tank build. Also has mad Vitality in it as well with resist all elements and neg damage from ranged attackers. 7 Sins, still got to go with this again with the Mad Life, mad resist all elements, Vitality, Intelligence, Dexterity, and Strength. It's just too good to pass up. Okay, Sage's Jesters, the same ones I'm using from my Demon Hunter as well with the mad damage, critical hit chance, attack speed, vitality, and dex. If you can craft the Sage's Jesters, the best gloves in the game. For my weapon, I'm actually going to be using the Devil's Tongue. There's a lot of different variations of weapons that you could be using, but I like the Devil's Tongue. It did come with the socket, so I craft that Marquise Emerald in there at 110 critical hit damage. It does come with lots of vitality usually if you get a good FX roll on it. So it has, you know, vitality, intelligence, dex, strength, and more damage. So everything I need in this build. The Witching Hour. Also another one of my Demon Hunter belts that I was using. Good intelligence, attack speed, life, critical hit, damage, and dex. So still, like I said, everything we need. Same thing in the Surcoat or Blackthorn's Jousting Mail. You know, more life per hit. I think my life per hit is right at about 1,000. My life regen per second is about 2,500. So these are all stats to keep in mind. You want to get your stats to about these same levels as mine, and then you'll pretty much be an infinite tank. You sit out on the battlefield in front of dudes. These are the type of guys that I love for my Demon Hunter. They can just soak up that damage. And while that Demon Hunter's sitting back there and just laying dudes out. And like you can see, this dude's laying guys out too. Wailing Host and Natalia's Reflection. So love both of those. The fact that I got 2 Natalia set pieces on increases my critical hit chance by 7. And so, you know, there's the armor that so hopefully you really like my character build on the Devil's Tongue dodging defensive tank build, you know. It's pretty OP. You know, I really like how, you know, for here, for example, it's, you know, I can just stand here and, you know, they're attacking my Mystic Ally. He's drawing the damage. And they just start tearing it up again. This is your host, Mr. Yuck. Please like this video. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mr. Yuck Forever. Stay tuned for more epic videos.